TGIF, everybody. Welcome back to the second week of play at our second ever Amateur Worlds Tournament. It's a beautiful night on Summoner's Rift. Atmospheric conditions are absolutely perfect for some League of Legends, and I, for one, just cannot wait to get started. It will, of course, be the last week of the tournament, though, for half of our teams. Tonight, we'll see the conclusion of the group stage. Next week, we will be moving into the semifinals. But before we get to that, gentlemen, there is some very important business to take care of here and now. Without further ado, I am your host, Crewman. We've got Huey, Yoshikage, and Goferino for the casts. They will also be joining me on the analyst desk here to start things off. Our first matchup tonight features TD Jr. against the Monkeys in Training. Both teams sitting currently at 1-2 after our first week of play. Huey, your initial thoughts, please, on this first matchup as the Optimal Championship League and Zero Gravity Gaming respective runner-ups get ready to go head-to-head.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we got to see TDR last weekend play.
Off stream, yes.
So they were off stream. So this will be their first time on stream. I'm excited to see. We saw Monkeys in Training last week, so we have a little bit to work on more with that. Monkeys in Training, pretty solid. They came through. They struck their stuff. They got a strong win. I feel like looking back over at groups with the three-way tie, mind you, I feel a lot of people were testing limits, kind of testing the waters and getting themselves ready for this day too. So I'm really excited to see. I think it's gonna be a close one. And honestly, I don't think there's gonna be any shutouts per se in any of these games. I think all of these games are gonna be extremely close. So with that being said, I'm excited for this game one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of an interesting situation here that we have in Group A with 3 of our 4 teams taking games off of each other. So, yeah, they do seem to definitely be closely matched. And I agree with you, of course, Huey, that it should be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. But last time that these 2 teams specifically did meet last week, it was TD Jr. that was able to walk away with the dub. So, Goferino, do you expect them to come out on top once again tonight, or do you think that the Monkeys in Training have finished their training arc over the last week and are now ready to go?
There's definitely arguments to be made both ways here, and of course there's a huge wild card thrown into all that, the 12.10 durability patch, which was not a thing last week, but is now a thing this week, so it is going to be a bit up to who adapts more, but the fact that TDR Jr. kind of had the Monkeys number last week means that they're probably going into this feeling pretty confident. You know, they got the jazz, they got the vibes, and it's kind of up to the Monkeys to really bring out something new here potentially. Maybe some new patch tech, maybe a secret pocket pick they've been hiding here, and try and just bring out that surprise factor to get their win.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, Monkeys with the curveball, potentially. The Monkeys in Training, though, Huey, they are playing with substitutions in top and jungle, although they did have this exact same roster last week. So same substitutions carrying over here into week 2. Obviously, they would prefer to have all of their starters here for Amateur Worlds, but do you think the additional week to build synergy will give them a much stronger showing here as we move into week 2? Do you think that's going to be extraordinarily helpful for the Monkeys, or do you think 1 week probably not really enough to build up that level of synergy?
So really, NLK will be the sub over for Monkeys in Training. Completely did an awesome performance. 13, 12, and 14 day 1. So honestly, I don't think it's really going to affect them too much. Honestly, I think it'll be more beneficial. You already played. You guys already know what you guys are looking for. So getting another game in or another day in together should be completely fine. What I'm hoping is that they find an answer more towards Fernidia or Cortutide, because that's the threat right over for TD Jr., which is their jungler in their mid. And if you don't have an answer for them, oh man, that's gonna be it's gonna be an extremely hard game to come for.
Yeah, seriously. Cortide, you were just mentioning him there, Huey, mid laner for TD Jr. He did really pop off last week against the Monkeys in Training, excuse me, went 16-3 on the Vagar. Nautilus was also extremely high priority in that draft for TD Junior. Go Farino, do you expect these picks to be prioritized here once again? Are there any other picks that you're keeping your eye on that you think were very important for the side of TD Junior and their success last week, or you think are maybe really strong on this new patch that you were just mentioning?
So Vicar has lost some stock potential on this patch because your super bursty kit means you have a hard time getting through all the extra bulk on the Rift now. However, don't be surprised if we do see the Vicar ban here still, Newman, because 16-2, that's one way to scar someone for the next time you meet up in a series. So see that taken off the board. You mentioned the Nautilus priority. We might still see that this patch, just given it is comfort here for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Huey, you got any picks that you're keeping an eye out for specifically? The Nautilus was 1-2. I believe it was the Nautilus Vagar 1-2 last week.
Yeah. So I feel Tank Engage is a really big, strong pick for the bot lane here in Group A, which I'm totally, completely for. Super explosive, the full lockdowns. I also like the Glacial Augment pick as well, coming with the Tank Engage. With the new durability patch, I don't see why not that the picks are going to continue being the same.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other side for Monkeys in Training, they did kind of try to draft some team fighting of their own. They had the Gangplank and the Victor. Lots of AOE, and they even had the Yasuo down there in the bottom lane, pretty spicy. So team fighting. Seems like both teams were drafting for it last time around, but it wasn't enough to push the Monkeys over the edge. So is there anything else? You mentioned a little bit already, Huey, that you were hoping for maybe some kind of a curveball from the Monkeys in Training here. Do you have any inklings or any hopes for what kind of curveball specifically that might be?
So if you're dealing with jungle and mid, that's always going to be the issue. Jungle, of course, roaming around, looking for the objectives. Mid, just completely all around plus with the jungler. That is a dynamic duo you do not really want to force or make any risky moves and lose upon. So I'm hoping with assassins being gone, I hope Monkeys keep with more of that wombo combo. Maybe not look for the one shot there, but then hopefully but with that with that being said, I'm really hoping to see just a 5-man super bulky comp, just kind of run it down once after that first objective, completely find each other, just become a death ball and just completely crush it through.
So Huey, that bulky comp that you're envisioning, does that or does that not include a Yasuo in the bottom lane? That's what I really want to know.
It can. It can. Okay. You add a Malphite there, that's a knockup. You have the Nautilus pick there, that's also a knockup. You make Yasuo's job that much easier.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, it didn't work for him last week, but maybe that is something that TD Junior should still be considering here as we move closer to this first draft of the day. But go Farino. We are like I already mentioned, we are pretty much in a little bit of a cluster here in terms of the standings here in this Group A currently, with Coachless Tyranny being the only team in Group A, at least, to still be undefeated. Obviously, we know who the top dog is coming out of week one. We know who everybody's got their eye on. And for either one of these teams, obviously both of these teams, only the top two in the group are going to be able to advance to the next stage, being the semifinals. So, Gofarino, do you think either one of these teams has a better chance than the other at getting into that semifinals, or more specifically, I should say, at taking down the undefeated Coachless Tyranny?
So Coachless Tyranny looked really, really solid last week is the huge issue. So these teams are going to have to kind of step up their game a little bit if they really want to compete, because Coachless Tyranny kind of more or less had a bit of a totalitarian grasp over the Rift. It wasn't the most dominating, but it felt like they were one step ahead each time. So to match that, you're going to want to get it one step ahead yourselves, or even two steps ahead. Any sort of advantage works.
Yeah, I will say, I guess the Big Duck Entourage, it was a pretty drawn out game. It wasn't, necessarily all. I'm referring, my apologies, to the game between Coachless Tyranny and Big Duck Entourage. I'm just looking at the Coachless Tyranny match history right now. It was a fairly drawn out game, almost 40 minutes long, but I wouldn't say it was extraordinarily close. It really seemed like Coachless Tyranny kind of just choked them out. We were streaming that game, actually, if you guys recall. That was, I believe, our first streamed game of the event. And then against TD Junior, Coachless Tyranny was able to finish that one out. Again, it was a pretty long game. It was over 40 minutes, actually, that one. And again, the kill score strongly favoring Coachless Tyranny, but maybe with these longer game times, there's some kind of window that our squads could look for in the early game. Of course, the match against the Monkeys in Training, unfortunately for the Monkeys, is a little bit of a standout there, as Coachless Tyranny took them down in just under 25. But and I know Coachless Tyranny, guys, is not necessarily playing in our first game tonight that is going to be on the stream. But while we have a little bit of time, while we're waiting for the players to get ready for our first champion select, I thought I'll come back to you now, Huey. Do you think that Coachless Tyranny has presented any openings in the early game? Like, where is a weakness for this team that maybe some of the other squads in this group could look to attack?
It is definitely solid through and through, early, middle, beginning. I think the best way to come at it, though, is most likely through excuse me. It's probably the best way to come through it is probably through first objective. Try to get that bottom taken out of, handle the bot lane, from the bot lane, handle that first objective and kind of take control of that jungle. Try to get an early soul and close the game out. I really feel that CT sets the pace, and also with their picks, their scaling is really well for the late game. So try to not play it towards their game. Make it a 15, 16, 20-minute game.
Yeah, I mean, Rocky has been pretty consistent there in the jungle, but if you do manage to get a leg up in those objectives, that's clearly kind of how Coachless Tyranny likes to play, right? They like to play a little bit of the slower style, where they just collect all those neutral objectives and kind of slowly choke you out of the game. So, absolutely, if you're able to get the jump on Rocky or any other member really of Coachless Tyranny for that matter, and you are able to pick up those early objectives, could open some kind of window to maybe take a game off of this team. But back to the matchup at hand here, Go for Reno, because that's of course where both of these squads are going to need to start, is taking a look at each other and getting that first win. That's really where things are going to start shaping up. But do you have a prediction? Maybe we'll just go on to predictions here, Go for Reno, for who do you think is going to move ahead into temporarily that second place position here in Group A between the Monkeys and side of completely.
So judging by the fact for the draft that Monkeys in Training have already locked in Senna Swain, probably Monkeys in Training, because those are two very kind of OP champions on this patch, to say the least. So you already have some pretty insane scaling with that, and a super bulky front line.
Yeah, into the draft, guys. Have fun with it, okay?
Yeah, man. Already going through. These guys are moving way too fast for us, but hey, it's all right. We already have round one already locked in. Bot lane looking serious over for TDR. MF and Leona. Very easy wombo combo. You love to see it. A new threat has entered the building. My man Go for Reno, how do you feel about Wukong?
So Wukong was really overpowered last patch. I've yet to see him on this patch, but I'm expecting that with the longer fights, it still works out in Wukong's favor, because you're still going to be able to dive the backline super easily. You're still going to be able to pop that Cyclone super easily. You even have the Leona Misfortune Wombo combo so far. So TDR have a very strong, just upfront kind of bursty comp. And then after that, it tends to trail off just a little bit. but Monkeys in Training already with a very, very tanky composition. I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing the Lilia locked in here. You have a lot of that percentage HP burn between your passive, between the Leandries or Demonic Embrace that you do build. And it'll help you really just kind of chip away through these fatties on the front line. Question is, what does TDR want to finish off their comp with here? Okay.
I don't know if Graves was the answer there, though. I was really enjoying TDR's lineup here until the Graves pick here. So that's going to put the Wukong in the top lane. So it should be the biggest champion on the map. So maybe that might make a little bit of difference. He should be able to break through the Ornn as well. And with the Yasuo locked in there, you have the Ornn to help out. You have the Swain pool with the Zac knockup. So you got about 3 or so there knockups for it. I'm enjoying both sides, honestly. I don't think anyone really got the leg up per se. The only one I really have an issue per se with is the Graves pick. TDR there, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket and you're saying, hey, look, we're going to win this late game and we're closing this out at 20 minutes. Because if you don't close this out at 20 minutes, MIT starts coming back like from the dead.
Yeah, because TDR, outside of this Lilia, really do not have the best tank busting strats. And they are kind of a pretty low range composition. I mean, granted, Monkeys in Training, not exactly the highest range composition ever themselves, but they will outrange TDR here, which will give them some very nice stalling power. I want to see which of these champions goes into the bot lane with Senna, because it could either be the Swain or Yasuo here. I personally want to see Swain because Swain Senna is such a disgusting combo in the bot lane.
I feel like that's the bigger issue there. The Swain Senna, then I guess Senna Yasuo. I feel like that's the super threat. So I would definitely have to agree with you on that one there.
Because Senna Yasuo, basically what happens is you try and win wall. You block them as Fortune Bullet time, but you cannot block the Solar Flare or Zenith Blade. Which is kind of very crucial because it means this Leona for TDR just going to be hopping right back onto you. And this MIT composition very heavily reliant on this Yasuo for super consistent damage, as we've been seeing much more like lethality focused setas. Swain can do damage, but you know it's during the demonic extension, yada yada yada. So it's really just up to this Yasuo for Monkeys in Training, and I want to see some funneling go into this Yasuo, Huey.
I think you're gonna have to, cause like we were saying before, TDR has the Wombo combo come 6. It's serious. It's a huge threat. These guys take a little bit to go online, but you funnel the Yasuo, you get the fasting Senna just starting to grab collector souls. You definitely have a threat, and that's the scary part of this team. I really see and feel that TDR is just going to kind of bully their way in, but they have to close it out. And I think that's the scariest part there, is ending this, because one bad team fight, you get Yasuo those 2 kills, those big shutdowns too, especially if I'm picturing this right. And that's serious. Senna as well, infinitely scaling. Swain's also a super threat too.
Yep, Swain technically also infinitely scaling, but it's helpful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right.
And then you
It's
throw in
still
the Ornn.
scary.
That's like, there's a lot of extra just artificial scaling here on the side of Monkeys in Training. But that's if that scaling does kick in. And even if it does kick in, the question is, like, with how much damage has been drafted by TDR, maybe they are just able to brute force their way on through. It's not exactly the best brute force composition when you see Monkeys in Training as this damn tanky, but it is a possible avenue.
You can also go for picks too. I mean, you walk into a Leona Wukong bush, a Lilia bowling ball coming out of the bush. That's just about a wrap there.
Ooh. Definitely very strong pick potential, even though there isn't like a ton of individual CC outside of this Leona in the bot lane for Caesar. Because it's the lilting lullaby from Veranda in the jungle, and then Decipher's Cyclone, which not really the best here. It looks like it is going to be the Senna Swain bot lane here, Huey.
There it is.
So,
I had to.
I mean,
It
it
has to
makes
be. It
sense.
has to be. It has to be. It has to be. It has to be. It's too
I
good.
mean, if the incline draft is anything to go off of, technically they can switch. I believe cutoff point is like 20 seconds beforehand, but that's like a general rule for most leagues. But it can vary a little bit. Yada yada yada.
I like it though. Where do you feel it's gonna end up though? We were trying to get our predictions in, but they started draft ahead of us. So where do you think game one's falling?
I'm feeling monkeys in training composition more because it feels more cohesive. That and also the fact they have Senna Swain, which are like stupidly strong in this patch to say the least.
Oh yeah, they're pretty serious. They're definitely a serious threat. But I mean, I call me old school. I love the old Wombo combo, MF Leona. I super enjoy it. The Graves is a little bit of an issue. I can see a little bit of an issue with the Graves, especially if they fall behind. But I do like the Lilia percentage health. I do like the Wukong Wombo as well. It should be able to put Ornn, lock it down. Don't let them get to that comfortable scaling position. And as long as they keep an eye out for that Zach Yasuo roam, should be A-okay.
Yeah, just got to keep your eye out for that here. Because Wombo Combo is the name of the game. A well-placed wind wall can block the bullet time, can block the collateral damage. Won't exactly block the Wukong or Leona or Lilia to a degree, but taking out that bullet time is going to be the major thing that does shred through your team alongside that Lilia passive. And MIT is just definitely going to have to play the long con on this one, like you said, with the scaling, but also in team fights, Huey, because you got a lot of just passive regeneration from a lot of these champions. You got a lot of just ways to stay alive. And the longer you stay alive, the more value you get out of champions like the Senna, like the Swain, like the Zac.
And they're going to live longer too because of this patch too. That's actually a really good point. The innate healing, you're going to have to buy anti-healing now to kind of mitigate that. You got the Zac, you have the Senna healing, plus the Swain through Root. That's a really good point. Yeah. Let's see though. I mean, Lilia should help out with that a bit. All right. We can go on and on though. All right. We have just a couple moments before game 1, day 2, guys. Be sure to keep it locked, and we'll be loading into the Rift momentarily. See you then. Are finally live here. Day 2, baby. Game 1 on the way. We started a little late here, so we did get a slight invade on both sides there, but I think everyone is going to start on their respective sides.
Yep. Despite all the action, sadly we had to miss some of it due to Riot Klein being the most well-designed thing ever. But hey,
hey, you know what? It is what it is. We're here. All right, let's thank that it let us in. Okay, TDR will be on the blue side. MIT over onto the red side, and that's Graves mid. How did I mid? What? Okay. Hey, whatever. Yeah, I like it. I mean, something new.
Graves mid has been something kind of that is sporadically seen every now and then. Was most prominent last season when Lane Graves was just the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
Not the stupidest thing ever anymore, but it's a huge benefactor of all the extra resists when you're already so tanky. Hey,
Graves does get to rotate over. Doesn't get any vision or any objectives there. It is a little bit of a threat. I like when you have the priority. You try and get the roam in. You try and get a little something. Didn't lose anything at all either. I like that. You also got the timer there, knowing that Raptors just finished. Also hitting that 3. I like the ignite, but at the same time, I don't know if I do. Ooh, the flash E and C ignite right here would be perfect as he gets going on in. Flash is gonna go in. No, there, and it's not gonna make the difference. blood is gonna still head over to Yasuo's side. Korotide able to make it a 1-for-1.
Oh Lord. But Bren's able to get the first blood there. Not exactly the 0-10 power spike, but it's a lot scarier than that. So yeah, snowballing Yasuo, always something fun to deal with indeed. Thankfully for Korotide, they are going to have the early lethality. Most likely what we've been seeing is the Umbral Glaive into Umbral Glaive into the Eclipse. I don't know why I'm forgetting names all of a sudden today, but who knows? Either way.
It's alright. It looks pretty good though. I like that pick though, honestly. With the Eclipse, should be able to rip through some of these tank here, guys. Going back to the mid lane here. We're gonna get a switch engage here. A lot of damage from the minions. Dashes are gonna go in, but I don't know. I think the minions didn't make that trade fair.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we might have a little bit of action here on the top side if Decipher gets a little too far up.
It does look juicy. As a top laner, that looks super juicy. But he has to know that he doesn't have any information of where Zac is. And Zac can come in from anywhere, too.
Okay, that's a lot of damage. But this is the durability patch, so...
Yeah.
Everybody's a little bit thicker. Everybody's got a little more meat to their bones.
Oh, look in the bot side. Trades are going in. Flash. Zenith Blade's gonna go. It finds it. Stun is gonna land. Nevermore is going to miss. MF is so close to dying. But Leona should be able to escort her away, making that an even trade over for the bot lane there.
Yep. Great pickup in the bot lane there. Putting the Senna on the back foot. Looking... Still just sitting in the wings here. The Searing Charge lands. Okay, it doesn't. Loki showing their face now.
I guess
it is only a rank 2 slingshot, so...
Yeah. I guess it's just to kind of show threat. Because right now, Wukong definitely can't handle the 2v2 right now. Not yet. Once that Cyclone's available, though, he definitely can handle a 2v2. Especially if he continues the way he is. Gonna pick up the Sheen and boots there. That's a strong pickup there. Uh-oh, looking down to the mid there. NATO will be picked up. And Knight is going to kill him there. Knock up and ult is going to go. Yasuo's going to start the snowball. Flash going to have to get away there. And the Deer almost making that a 2-0.
A little sussy. This Yasuo now snowballing harder for Brenz. Really great move there, recognizing like, hey, you know what? You have like no mana. And I'm a manaless champion, so I'm gonna get this NATO. I'm gonna get in on your ass, and I'm gonna kill you. And Chlorotide's just like, all right, yeah.
There's not much there else Verdina can do with the Zac. Forces them out of the jungle there. Not too bad per se. And this is getting to become a little scary here.
Durability patch. Let's go. I mean, okay, the shield's nerfed, so it's like relative, but like, that's always so funny if you don't break through the shield. Okay, Magikarp's
doesn't always count. Ornhorn is gonna go down, is gonna miss. Double Cyclone going to land. The chip damage is there for the passive. Not gonna. It finds his way through and gets one up.
Whew. And that's not something I expect in the top lane, to say the least, from Magikarp. Because Wukong typically do really well. You just pop the Cyclone when that Call of the Forge God's coming in, and the Call of the Forge God didn't even hit there. That was just all Lorne-based damages from Magikarp, so able to get that 1-for-0 in the top lane. Answered across the map though with an early Hextech Dragon. A bit of a roam into the mid lane. Brenz does have the flash up here in just a second, and is on the far side, sees this coming, and is like, yeah, you know what? We out.
I'm just gonna walk on over here and be A-okay. I'm honestly surprised for that top lane though. Sheen being able to, or Sheen not being enough there. Do you think it was Sheen? Do you think Phage would have been a better start pick there?
So I'm not the most familiar with Wukong combos because as an AD carry main, I'm just used to him very skillfully using any combo of skills that involves half his kit.
Oh, it's a
Then
very
knocking me up
interactive
close
game
with
for
Cyclone while I
ADCs.
can't hit him.
It's definitely a very interactive game when ADCs are facing Wukong, especially if it's a fed monkey too. So that's understandable. I think maybe going maybe for a black cleaver or maybe more of an armor chip towards the Ornn and a little more durability on Wukong himself might have been a little helpful. We're gonna get the 3-man here. The seed is going to hit, but not 6.
Passive available, so
Knockup is going to go. He still has passive. Good call there. Knockup is going to land, but it's only onto Leona. Heads up is going to go, but again, knockup is only going to land. Oh, the passive is going to break over onto Zach. Leona's going to try to lock down. The sleep is going to hit. She hit 6 during the fight. Here comes the we were talking about before. Ornn is in the 1v4, and that's going to be the triple. Kill. It's pretty at 420, baby.
that is that's one way to get your Graves into command of this game. You know, let me check the gold here. Yep, sitting on 2,400. So that can be an eclipse on this back if Chlorotide does so please. Even though typically we usually see the Umbral first, just due to how cheap it is. But the fact that you've snowballed this far ahead, there's a very strong case to be made for, you know what, let's just pick up the clips right now. Then we can look to go into more tank busting items for later, because I can afford that luxury with how much extra gold I have in my pockets. But they do need a back here, Huey. They do need a back.
No, you need to. I like that call. Especially that you just got that nice turn. You got Herald as well. Hextech also in the pocket. So now it's just what are the next steps needed to continue this turnaround?
Yeah, because MIT, they definitely want to stabilize this game more. They don't want to have more of what that was just happening. You don't want to give over more triple kills. Yep, there it is, Eclipse. First mythic completed in the game. Pretty big deal.
And boots. So
and the mythic passive is actually going to be kind of a big deal this game, since 4% armor completion or extra armor pen with every extra legendary you finish. That was going to be kind of noticeable when we see double Bomby Cinders items come out from the enemy team. So you'll like to see it if you're this Graves here for Chlorotide.
yeah, especially with the Eclipse locked in, ready to go. That's going to be some serious damage, my friend. That's actually scary damage. That's spooky. How do you approach the Graves? Well, I think we're going to get our answer here. Q's going to land. Yeah, that's how you approach the Graves there.
Yeah. Because it looked really good at first there for Bren. So you get that nice combo. You have the NATO ready to go. But Eclipse procs because Chlorotide hits you with an auto attack and an ability, and you've lost the trade. You can't really punch through that shield that Chlorotide has just got, and Chlorotide's just going to be out sustaining you when you have just the Vamp Scepter. So, yeah.
It's a little unfortunate. Looking over onto the gold, only 700 in the pocket. Can't get too much. Is going to need another good rotation or two to kind of set the pace over in items. Check where Zach is right now. This is bait on bait, but we may rotate over for the Yasuo. But let's see where they're going to go. We have about 15 on Cloud Drake here, leaving Ocean and Fire being the 2 dragons attainable for Soul. Either one being very beneficial for teams, but I would think TDR would prefer the Fire Soul, while MIT would definitely prefer the Ocean Soul. As we're going to get our answer here.
Rift here.
There it is. Ha! That's a good one. Keep them nice and refreshed. Extra bushes and the extra honeydews over in the in the river and bushes is definitely gonna call for more bushwhacks now, no?
I guess, yeah. The biggest thing about this is the fact that it's a somewhat early-ish 2-dragon stack here for TDR, which they do like, because a classic thing to cheat out more scaling in a game while we wait on the skank in the mid lane is to just stack up dragons, because it is technical free scaling.
Okay. Knock up R is going to land. The center shield's gonna help out as well. Ignite's gonna enough to shut down. It's finally found. It landed on Zach, but hey, I mean, a kill's a kill.
Kill's a kill. It is a juicy shutdown. What can you do with that though? Because you want to push in this mid lane here if your Bren's fast enough to get a nice easy recall out. I don't think, yeah, Bren's is not sitting on enough gold right now. Only 1,700. That's not enough to finish off the shield bow here. But it is, though, is enough to get some nice components going, and then also just get a nice reset here and come back in time to match the Graves from Chlorotide. So you're on much more even footing. Oh, hi, Ziggy. My dog is visiting my room. I think she wants to go outside.
Let's go, Ziggy. Checking over onto the scoreboard here. Eclipse still being the only mythic on the board, but they're coming just right around. Hold that thought there. Bot lane is starting to go off. The dark flames from the demon is going back on to the back line. Lilia is here as well. Be careful there. The sleep is gonna land, plus the bonk is gonna put him down, plus the ult is gonna bring down these
I think it's the suck's still going.
He might be able to continue moving there. Demon Flare is still popping, or Demonic Extension still popping off. Demon Flare already proc there. Going back towards the mid lane here. Yasuo looking for another fight. Knockup is going to go, but doesn't have ult there yet. The Ignite is going to proc there. The Iron Shield Bow is the R there. Not enough. Brent is going to win that 1v1 there. We're going to get the rotate here from Varnina. They're going to have to be careful as we see Loki in the curtains.
All right, use the second Cyclone. Yes.
Oh, the double Cyclone topside there. There's the damages that you see. Going to chip on through, looking for the dash.
Nimbus strike?
Flash dash. There it is.
It is. It's a very long pot kill.
No. Run! Scary games. Oh, wait.
I mean,
he doesn't have Cyclone.
For themselves.
Yeah, Sunderer proc is scary. And the crushing blow. Don't forget. The thing is, I feel a lot of people always forget that the passive. He gets the extra armor and the health too.
Yeah,
so
the health.
The longer fights. Yeah, the longer fights are better.
Okay, look for the elastic slingshot. Never mind, don't look for it. Loki's just chickening out. They're still in the area, so it might happen.
The entry's going to be locked in there. The double ice, the double frostfire. You like to see it. Over for the monkeys in trading there. With the Kraken there already locked in for MF. So, blue side more locked in, ready to go. So I'm actually kind of scared to see how this ocean fight is going to go. I think MIT's best bet, instead of trying to take this fight head on, look for a bush, pile up, and try to get a nice 3-man. Oh, scratch that right now. Looking for the jump in the mid lane. Windwall is going to go to proc. Set up with the shield. R in their last breath. It's not going to be enough with the Cyclone there. The Cypher with the beautiful rotation there and a great pick right before third Drake.
Right before third Dragon. Like you said, that's a huge pick as well. Yes, they did kind of use a lot of ultimates for that. That's a good lullaby. It's only going to hit one. And he finish out the Swain.
Before he can even send to his demon form, gonna force Zach away here. The Ignite is proc. He does have his passive, so they're gonna have to be a little careful. Nice rotate though for.
Oh, okay.
He forced him back over onto the other side. I don't know why he went that way. The GA is gonna proc there. His passive is gonna proc, and yeah, Decipher on a killing spree. That was a sick rotate there. And yeah, we kind of touched earlier in the draft pick, this is the death ball. This is what I wanted to see from TDR. As soon as these guys hit 6 and get into this mid game, start rolling together as a squad and just start pressing R all together. Someone presses R, everyone else hit R. Super easy.
It has been working out so far. Got themselves a bit of a sizable lead. They have the triple dragon. About 4.5 minutes time. That's roughly 23 minutes into the game. If they do rush it, they can have that 23-minute Ocean Soul, which will help them a lot. When we consider how long some of these fights are probably going to be this game. They just got to keep the momentum going until then. Keep the gas in the tank, keep the juices flowing, all that good stuff.
So everything right now is going so far how we kind of seen it going. Now we have to see if they're able to close it out. Looking over at the total gold there, Tide totally in the lead there. Epstein right behind, and then the rest of TDR following right behind in that 6K margin area. Really nice stuff there. Gonna get a slight exchange here. I'm not really sure what Vernidia was looking for there. He's gonna get the nice lullaby. Yasuo on the chase. Zach is gonna look for the slingshot, but not gonna be able to completely find it here. They're gonna re-rotate and regroup. I like that. I don't know what Vernidia was looking for there. Oh no! The blind rotate. Okay. Looking for it. Demonic Ascension plus Hourglass is going to land, but it seems like not doing a lot of damage. Vernidia gonna find a killing spree, and now can say that was calculated because that was totally exactly what they were looking for there.
Whew. Yep, keep the juices going here.
Look at the side lane.
Oh wait, Stitch, what are you doing? Yeah, that's just a pretty
you gotta respect it. Double Cyclone is going to land there. The exhaust on Yasuo. The second Cyclone is going to land and knock up.
Oh no, they're doing conga line strat.
And then there it is. They came in one at a time like they're bad guys and then Avengers. You don't do that, especially at this time here at 20. And Graves, meanwhile, bot lane.
Yeah, it's already hard enough winning 5v5s when you're behind. Now try 1v3s over and over again. That's not going to work. 1v5s aren't going to work either here. I'm sorry, Magikarp. That's going to be the first base turret broken here. And now it looks like TDR keeping up their streak from last game here. Keeping the juices going, Huey. With that base broken wide open, they have the 7k lead. And they can try and just pick up the Ocean Soul here in about 2 minutes time and really hammer it home.
This is exactly what they needed to do. Get a early lead, seal the deal, close this game out. So right now, the clock is ticking for MIT. They need to find their way back into this game, or TDR will have this in the bag.
Good news is, I mean, the scaling is coming through. Magikarp will get their first Orn item next level. Every level after that, you get another ornament. Styx, currently sitting on about 74 souls. Not quite at that 4th range increase yet. This is still very noticeable range increase.
Okay. I thought we were going to get a little more there. Late minute Rift Herald here coming down. Gonna make it rain here, try to clear the area. I think they'll still get.
There we go.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine though. We take it.
That's what you want.
It's better than nothing right now. Plus the objective bounty definitely helps out. But this Grave splitting, he split all the way to base bot lane, and it looks like he's doing it again. And it seems like they're fine as the 4-man. So you got to try to find someone to answer for the Graves, but who do you send up to answer for that Graves without losing the 4-man?
Yeah, because it's a bit of a tough sell here for MIT. Yeah, there's a big start to the fight.
No follow-up. This might be a little better. Ornn is going to be the answer there, but we're going to head back towards the bot lane here. Double flash knockup is going to go in. Send up with the shield, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Gonna not also be enough. Demonic Ascension, definitely not going to be enough. Yasuo coming in for the end, and he wrapped up the... the TDR death ball is just too much right now, and that's gonna be sold there.
And this is looking more or less next to unwinnable for MIT right now, because you don't really have anyone that's ahead in their respective possession. Everybody's behind their respective opponent. You have a massive gold deficit that's going to be exacerbated by the fact that there's an Ocean Soul and now probably going to be Baron buff. Okay, yes, the Ornn upgrades are coming in. Yes, you do have the Senna that is stacking up, but you're so far off. Everybody on your team, except for this Ornn, sitting on about an item and a half, while the enemy team all on 2.5 items more or less here, Huey. So it should just be a cold cut case here if you are TDR.
I think it's just a case of just too little, too late. You let a lot of things go. That triple kill on Graves really set the pace. And looking at Graves' KDA right now, you wouldn't really believe that it was really quarter tied to really kind of put the game where it is, in the game state where it's at right now. But he really, really did. Beautiful rotations as well. From Jungler and from Sailor as well. So, I mean, honestly, you can't ask for much more. You're almost there. You just need to make sure that this last push finishes on through.
Ooh.
This should be the game in the bag.
It should be. That's a good ulti, but you don't really have backup.
Horn is gonna land the 3-man double knockup. The damage isn't there. Yasuo's gone. The C fantastic, but you're just gonna watch the burn on through. And yeah, watch the
Ocean Soul here.
You cannot. And so with the tank idea, you're supposed to out sustain. The Ocean Soul just kind of breaks that whole thing apart here. TP is gonna land. The passive is gonna break, and I think that's all she wrote here. Senna on the back line there as well, looking to try to do a pinch in between the tower. I like but it's going to get one demonic ascension. Demon flare already used, looking to try to just life might be.
Oh no! Now
no.
Dies here.
Pushed a little too hard there. Ignite is going to take, and oh, he lives with about 10. But I mean, at what cost? As you see, Monkey's base just fall to shreds.
Like, you can't really do too much about it. Your tankiness really has not come online. Yes, it's starting to come online, but the fact that you've fallen this far behind means that there's plenty of penetration built up on the enemy team. We see 2 LDRs finished. We see the double HP percentage burn here from Verinda. So, like, it's a tough one here, buddy. It's a tough one, but you're going to have to get yourself out of it, because
it's really unfortunate.
Because dropping to 1 and 3 here, Huey, it doesn't make it completely impossible, I believe, depending on the other series results. But it's going to be next to impossible.
Do we have any updates on the other game while we get a slight pause? Because this game has been extremely, extremely explosive. So if we have a little bit, that'd be super cool. But if not, yeah, man, I'm very disappointed. I wanted TDR to win. So I'm glad, but I really liked where Monkeys in Training were coming, and it really was. I wouldn't say it was their game, but they definitely had the steps to making it their game. Especially with the early game, getting the Yasuo kind of ahead. It's just like very minute factors that really just kind of set the pace over here. But I mean, right now, as long as this goes correct, this should be the last shove here.
Yeah. But you do have to hold on, which is the really big thing here. And the tankiness of your comp be damned if you're having to face the Elder Dragon, because, you know, you just have 20% less HP in a fight, which is a big deal when you're tanky.
And that's true, but honestly, TDR doesn't need to wait for it, and honestly, I wouldn't wait for it either. That's just kind of something that can kind of cause issues. You got 2 inhibs already down. You got all waves pushing. I think you should just go for the last one, call it a day. instead of waiting for the Herald. But I mean, you could, I mean, teach their own, teach their own. But I would really like just a 5-man to that inhib, call it a day. We're gonna see though here as we look for. Ooh, Solar Flare's gonna miss there. Uh-oh. That was a 1-man Solar Flare too, which I think is a little sus.
Bum, 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 bum. I mean, you're super far ahead, and Solar Flare is a really low cooldown. It's already a quarter of the way off.
True.
We'll have it a little bit after this dragon spawns, I believe. But that is noticeable.
Yeah. So let's see.
I'm not entirely sure, buddy.
On in, Graves putting on in, Demonic Ascension.
Oh my god.
In the back, just ripping on through. Yasuo finally finding the knockup and the. But it's again just a case. Wait, and it's the man Death Ball yet again. Wukong now taking the role of Quarter Tide, just pushing the wave on in. And hey, that is a crack case game 1. You can't be mad at that. 28-8, man. GG's. Well played to everybody.
Yeah, once the damage got rolling on in here for TDR, they just kind of felt unstoppable. The respective members on MIT weren't able to garner any advantages of their own. Like we can see, the 0-6 and 3 Senna, despite having well over 100 souls at about mid 100, is not really able to mount to anything, which is really disappointing. Because it was pretty even for the most part in the beginning. The biggest separation factor were those dragons. But the fact that we saw that one triple kill for Chlorotide, the fact that we saw Veranda able to just kind of scale up, get the double HP melting items here, kind of feels like that snowballed this game out of control here for TDR Huey.
Yeah, I mean, once that Eclipse was locked in, that was just about a wrap, man. And it's just so unfortunate. It was looking great. It was looking super, super great there. But hey, you gotta give it over to TDS. Great work there. Sealing the deal, fighting their way back into it. And honestly, I wouldn't say that the game was completely locked there. It was just lead. And then so finding their lead back and not giving them a chance to come back. Can't ask for much more.
Yeah, that's definitely the case here. And the damage just way too strong went ahead. Frontline just not able to really compete here. And Monkeys in Training definitely in a really bad spot right now. 1-3. They're going to have to win the rest of their games today. They want a shot at playoffs, which is a really, really tough sell.
A lot easier said than done. But, I mean, as long as they continue with the way they are going, they should be completely fine. But, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to be coming into your next set of games with.
We'll see. But, yeah, we will take a quick break here. Before we come back for game number 2, we will have some special guests on the desk here before game number 2, though. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a jiff.